Can y'all hear that? How's the audio quality? Can you guys check and see if the audio is good? You can just put on the chat. Yes, audio is good. All right. All right. I guess this thing doesn't work. I feel like on my first live stream, I felt like I was, yeah, perfect. Great, great. All right, friends, thank you so much for logging in. It's Kathy and welcome back to my channel. And we are doing our live stream on YouTube. I'm so excited. This is my second time doing this. The first time that I did was about, being a small YouTuber. And I was so nervous, but it's okay. Thank you so much for logging in, friends. I really, really appreciate your time. So we're going to be waiting for some more people. I know quite a few more are going to be logging in. But this time I was able to draft my draft. I was able to complete my draft for tonight. And I was hoping that I can complete like the front and the back page, but I was only able to complete the top part. But that's okay. We'll just go ahead and wing it. And I'll let you guys know the things that I know about nursing and about COVID, our current situation. And I am in the US right now, but I know I have friends from the Philippines and friends from maybe Canada, perhaps, I don't know, and the different parts of US. So welcome, welcome, welcome to my channel on live stream. This is our second time doing this. So, all right, good evening, sir. MKRP4, thank you so much for logging in. I've got a few friends out on the chat room. So I think I have my agenda. So we're just going to do a quick intro and then a disclaimer. We're going to do that. And then we're going to talk about, I guess, transmission of COVID, infection control, testing. Oh my gosh, my testing stuff right downstairs. I got to get somebody to bring it upstairs. And what do you do when you become positive or when you become negative? Who would have thought that being negative is a good thing, right? When it comes to COVID, PPE supplies, and what do you do out there? About your comfort zone, going out there, and also some myth busters. I saw some myth busters online that I thought is pretty cool to cover and just to kind of discuss it. I thought it would be cool. Let me just text my son because I forgot the test kit. It's downstairs. All right, give me a second, friends. Okay, it's the big box in the living room. Okay. All right. So if you have not seen my other video on my other video, I'm sorry. If you have not seen my other video about, I think the video was about the 9 frequently asked questions about nursing. If you have not seen that, that's okay, but you can go ahead and click on that once we're done with our live stream. But I grew up and I was born and I grew up in the Philippines, and I finished my first degree, my bachelor's degree in the Philippines in business. And then when I moved here in the United States, there's a lot of Filipino nurses out there. And I thought, well, maybe that's a cool job. There's a lot of Filipino nurses. So I went ahead and went to a community school. So over here in the US, there's community schools, and I did the associate degrees in nursing. So I finished my 2-year degree in nursing, and that one actually is really a 2-year program, but it's a 2-year program, but you have to complete a lot of prerequisites. So like prereq classes. So anyway, so there's that. I finished that. It probably took me about 3 to 4 years to complete that. And then I was eligible to sit in to take the board exam for the registered nurse licensure for the state of Texas. And so I did that, I completed that, and after that I went to work at a hospital, and then I went to work at a skilled nursing facility, and now I work in assisted living. So I am not currently out there, I'm not doing patient care anymore, and I basically do a lot of management stuff. So I just wanted to give you guys a rundown on what I do and what I do with nursing. All right. there's that. And also just a little bit of disclaimer that, you know, I'm not part of the CDC. I'm not part of the Department of Health. All the things that you're going to be hearing tonight are basically from a cumulative or a compilation of information that I read from CDC, things that we are doing at work, and also things that I've seen out there from my experience as a nurse. So for those of you that wanted to have some questions, just go ahead and type up your questions in the chat column, and we'll go back to your questions and answer them at the end of our session. All right, so let's double check. All right, yes. I love the little comments on the side. All right, so what is COVID? Oh my gosh, I said I'm gonna wing it. I think I'm going blank. What is COVID? So COVID actually stands for, what does it stand for? It's a respiratory disease. And there's a lot of, it's actually a part of a family of SARS. Remember that SARS, the respiratory disease that was famous way back when, a few years ago. Hey, I want to make sure I'm just clear. I think the video is kind of grainy, but I'm using a webcam for my laptop. So COVID-19 is actually a corona disease 2019 is what it stands for. And that is because when they discovered that last year in 2019, and that's how it became into fruition about the name. It is a part of the family of SARS. So if you hear SARS, well, COVID-19 is actually a SARS component. It's a different type of a SARS version. And that's why they call it COVID-19. In actuality, if you get tested for COVID-19, it'll say there SARS-CoV-2. I think there's a SARS-CoV-1. The one that we have right now is SARS-CoV-2. So how do you get that? You probably have read, have seen, have watched a lot of information about COVID. It is a respiratory particle, air particle. So if you have it and you sneeze or you coughed, or even with just talking like this, I'm pretty much sure you guys can find some videos on YouTube about, how it spreads. You know, they do that backlight, or what do you call that? Like dark light, neon light, or whatever. And then it shows up those little particles, right? So it actually travels through air. And that's the reason why at the hospitals or any type of setting where you have COVID-19, the air circulation is a negative pressure circulation, where the air is being filtered inside the room out of the building and not recirculating in the building. So, and that's because it has to completely go out and it has to completely, be thrown out of the building or whatever, wherever you are, whatever that place is. So respiratory droplet, it travels through air. And also based on what I read a little while ago, with just some, transmission precaution, making sure that you are using at least a 60% alcohol-based hand sanitizer to kill it off. And you all know how to use a hand sanitizer, right? When you pump it on your hands, the friction and the rubbing is what kills the germs and bacteria. Same thing when you're washing hands. The friction is what kills the bacteria. So making sure that you are going in through the meaty, the little cracks of your hands and on your thumb, on your, what do you call this? The fingernails. I can't speak. Fingernails. So making sure that you are doing proper hand washing when you wash your hands. So, in the medical field, in nursing, we say, go ahead and sing happy birthday twice. And that's the length of time that you should be washing your hands. So, and you can sing any song that you want. That's okay, as long as it's a minimum of 20 seconds. So that's pretty much it about transmission, and I'm going to go ahead and deep dive into transmission a bit more later on when we go through my handy dandy draft note, which is not a whole lot. So that's pretty much it. So let's go into maybe testing. What do y'all think about testing? Yeah? Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for logging in. So what do y'all think about testing? So there are different types of testing now, and I think I'm pretty up to date, but I will tell you that there's different types of testing. What CDC recommends, CDC is the Center for Disease Control. What CDC recommends is you do the nasopharyngeal swabbing. So that is the nasopharyngeal, so nasal area up to the pharynx area, right? So you need to do that swabbing all the way down to your throat, all the way down to your throat. And I'm going to show you an example of the swab, I guess is what you will call it. That is the most effective way of really identifying and gathering specimen so you can process that in the laboratory. So there's that route. There's also just a nasal swab, which is just over here. And then there's also the pharyngeal swab. So think about pharynx, right? So it's throat swab. So you go just, all the way down to your throat until you touch that end there. And that's what you swab to collect your specimen. So there's that. So there's the COVID-19 testing where you do the swabbing. And then there's also the blood test. The blood test is really not a COVID-19 testing. It's actually trying to figure out if you've developed antibodies. So antibodies are developed in your body if you've had the COVID-19 and you've recovered from it. So if you are just in the beginning stages of your COVID-19 disease process and you're symptomatic, chances are you won't probably have a good amount of antibodies yet to be detected if you're going to do that antibody test. The antibody test is a blood test, like a blood prick, kind of like those blood sugar machines. And that's what they do. That's what they use. So there's that. So are you guys ready? You guys want to see the testing supplies? Yeah, I know. So there's some comments here. I'm just going to read through. There's not a whole lot of questions yet, but I'm just going to read through. There's one that commented, MKRP4, you did comment that testing is awful, especially done by a tired technician at the end of the hot day. Absolutely, absolutely. It's not comfortable when you do the testing, when you've gone through the swabbing. It's not comfortable. Yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you so much. Human coronavirus is the closest relative. Great. Long manicure is hard to clean. Absolutely. Mouth swab in LA. So you know what? I mean, I'm a nurse. I don't normally wear long nails because, I don't know. It's just sanitary purposes. Anyway, so let me show you some test kits, okay? These are extra test kits. And I'm going to show you. There's this swab here. You like it? Okay, so there's the swab here. And then there's the vial here. This is pretty interesting, right? Okay, so you can see that over here is the little, I don't know what you call it, just amount of diluent. I don't know what you would call this, but anyway, so there's that. So that is the tube. The reason being the reason why I have some extra test kits is because I do. They're extra test kits that I use for work. I do some testings. And in fact, I just finished swabbing about maybe like 50 people, combination of patients and care staff this past Wednesday. But I do have a good stash here at home. But this is one of them, all right? The tubes can vary. There are some that are screw-on. This one is just like you just pull it out, and there you go. So we're not going to use this one anymore for testing purposes. This is sent by the laboratory, and it comes with a requisition sheet. So the requisition is pretty much your sheet where all of the medical information is there. And then you're going to have a little sticker to put on the tube, and that sticker will have a barcode. And when the tube gets into the laboratory, they scan the barcode and it'll identify that this belongs to a specific patient. So this is the specimen bag container. This one has it's Ziploc. There's the slot where you put the specimen inside. And on the side, oh, where did you go? Over here at the back. On the back part, on the side back part is where you will slip your requisition sheet, which is a piece of paper. All right, so here's our tube, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out one of these. Okay, let me just do a close-up. Is that cool? Is that pretty good? You guys can see? All right, so, and this is the front. All right. Okay, let me go ahead and open it up. So over here, you have the arrow there, which indicates that it's a pink broth, right? It does look like a pink broth. So let's go ahead. The arrow is there. That means that is your, that's the end that you need to open it. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up. And the way you open it is you do it like that. There you go. And you just expose it like that. So here it is. I'm wasting a test swab here. All right, so there it is. So what do y'all think? It looks like a little Q-tip, right? Yeah. All right, so that is the shaft. And y'all see this groove over here? There's a little groove here. I'm gonna put it a little bit closer. You see that groove right there? Yeah, that groove is what you snap once you put this inside. All right, and that groove is also an indicator on how far you need to go inside the nose. So the way I do it, I usually just do one nair. Some people do 2 nairs. I just do one. So the way I do it is I slide it through, and I'm not going to test myself. So you slide it through, just make sure, and it's really open inside. So you slide it through until you reach, you'll hit, what do you call this? You'll hit a resistance. Once you hit that resistance, don't try to poke it inside. And the way you hold it is like this. Okay, and you slide it through up to where you hit the resistance. So there you go. That's pretty much how deep it needs to go in, right? And then you just kind of like turn it around. Just make sure you're scraping, because this part is really soft and it has like little bristles there. All right, it has little bristles and it's pretty bendable. You see that? So it shouldn't hurt and scrape anything in your nose. But once you go in, you just kind of turn it like this. And the way I do it, a lot of residents, a lot of patients kind of get so uncomfortable, and people, right? And it can give them like a burning sensation or a sneezing sensation or a painful sensation. Some of them would tear up a little bit. So the way that you comfort them is just, talk to them. I usually tell them, what's your favorite food? Where do you want to go? Obviously they can't talk, but it gets them to start thinking about those different places instead of focusing on the actual thing that I'm doing, right? So just go ahead and keep swirling, making sure you're scrubbing the back throat, and I usually count up to 10 seconds. And then when it's done, it's done. I go ahead and pull it out gently. Don't just yank it out, pull it out gently, and then without touching anything, and then you put it inside the tube. And then once you put it inside the tube, I usually do it like this, while pretending that it's inside the tube, right? So it's like this, and then I usually, so that end is gonna be out, and then I usually just snap it. Sometimes it doesn't snap really, really well. So I usually just keep on turning and turning and turning. Keep turning that, and then until it completely comes off, right? And then you seal it off. So once it's sealed off, everything inside, so the test, or whatever you call it, the bristles needs to be inside the tube. So there you go. You put that in there, and then you put it inside your bag, and then you seal it, and then you have your requisition sheet. So how cool is that, right? It's so cool. I do have quite a few test kits that I probably need to return to the laboratory company. I just want to make sure that it's going to be utilized by people that really, really needs it. So what do y'all think about that? Isn't that fun? You get to see that. You know what, admittedly, I've never been tested. Maybe I should. Somebody made a comment, it's a brain massage. It can be a brain massage. So there you go. So how long does it take for the test result to come out. So that type of testing has to be processed inside a laboratory. So with that, it means that it needs to be processed. And you can Google it up, you can look it up, because the way they do it is they extract the RNA of the coronavirus. It doesn't have a DNA, but they extract the RNA, and the laboratories have made like a replica of that RNA to kind of match it up. If it matches, then that means you're positive. If it doesn't match, then that means you're not positive. So it takes about, normally that process takes about 24 to 48 hours. But like last month, I think, or a couple of months ago, it has been so bad here in Houston that the test results took about 7 days for you to even get it. I mean, it's not the processing, but it's the lack of people in the laboratories that, you know, that's taking a while for them to process the tubes and the samples and the specimens. So, but right now it only takes about 24 to 48 hours to process that type of specimen in the laboratory. There's also another type of test where they just scrape your nose area, and you can even do that as a self-test, and then they'll go ahead and process it. I think that one can take about 24 to 48 hours as well. And then there's also another one that they will do that, and they'll put that in a machine, and you've seen this in the news. I think the president uses this. You put that in the machine, and it can take about 15 minutes, and they will process your test, and you will get your test result back. That one is what you call the rapid testing, and it's made by Abbott Company. I don't know if there's another company that does that now, but that is what you call the rapid testing. You can get your test result right away, and I think it's more effective, but it may not detect asymptomatic people that may be positive. So it can give you a false positive because you don't have enough virus in your nasal passage to be detected by the rapid testing. So, all right, so there is that. So what if you're negative? If your result is negative, then that's great, right? It's awesome, handy dandy, so that's great. So what other questions do you guys have out there about testing? Do you know anybody that got tested that had come out positive and, you know, or is probably under a recovery stage, or any of the, you know, their experience? I will tell you that, you know, from dealing with people or individuals that have become positive, the symptoms are different. You know, it takes about, theoretically, according to CDC, it takes about 14 days for the virus to incubate in your body. So technically it takes about 2 weeks for the virus to cook up in your body, right? Until you show up some symptoms. Symptoms can be like loss of taste. It could be loss of appetite, coughing, sore throat, fever, the most infamous one, and body aches, right? So it can take about 2 weeks. Some people actually it can take more than 14 days for them to exhibit any symptoms. It's crazy. And some people don't. I don't know why is that. It's crazy. There are some that are a couple, a husband and wife. The husband is positive, the wife is negative. For some reason, the other one is not getting affected, and we don't know why. And the other one is symptomatic. So it just really depends on your body. It's not a black and white answer on how to detect it, you know, how to detect it and how to fix it and how to deal with it. It's always going to be individualized. So it's really, it really depends on the individual. All right, so there is that. You know, at work for me, there's always a lot of information about, okay, when can I return to work? Okay, when can I come out of the house if I've been positive? So make sure you're checking your CDC guideline. Make sure you're checking whatever county or state or province, if you're in the Philippines. Make sure you know what your guidelines are when you are considered to be recovered and you can go out and, you know, do your errands or whatnot. So make sure you know that. Like for me, I work for a company, and not only that we follow the CDC guideline, we also follow our county guideline, our county guideline, and the company guideline. So it really depends. So make sure you are aware of what you need to do. All right. Next up on my list is really PPE supplies, the personal protective equipment. So with that, I have a few samples here. We have this cloth mask. Okay, I think my friend sells this. It's about $2, I think, $2 a piece, I think. So if you can see, it's really soft. And, I don't know, I've worn this and it's cute, right? Like that. It's really cute. It's laced up, but the part that I'm having a hard time with these things, the cloth mask, is when you breathe in, it kind of sucks in and it's kind of hard to breathe. I don't know about you guys. So I think I've seen the ones that are a little bit more thicker and sturdier. And that way, when you breathe in, it doesn't suck up, the cloth and kind of creates like a little barrier on your breathing area. You may be on your nose or your mouth. So there's this one. This is recommended if you go out at a grocery store or if you make your quick errands or maybe family gathering or whatnot. But there is this one. And I thought I have a surgical mask. I can't see the surgical mask. I think I'm out of the surgical mask. So, or I think it's in my purse. The surgical mask is more preferable than this one, I would say, than the cloth mask. However, the surgical mask and the N95 and K95 mask are reserved for medical people. So if you can use some cloth mask or some sort to protect yourself, I would advise you to do this. Not unless you're going to, a place where there might be some vulnerable population there, then I would probably recommend wearing a surgical mask. This is an example of a N95 mask. If you can see, this is what we use at the hospitals now or in the acute care setting. And this part is where it goes to the bridge of the nose that you need to mold to make sure it's properly fitting. Now, this one, way back when I used to work in a hospital, this one has to be properly fitted. There's a process where you're properly fitted for N95 mask. There's a test for this one to make sure that you know how to put it on properly. But nowadays, because it comes in different sizes, like a medium or large, I think. But nowadays, we'll manage if it's smaller for you or bigger for your face. So there is that. And then another type of N95 masks are these. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. All right. So this one is, I've never used this at a hospital setting before. So it opens up like that, right? And there you go. So it has the two rubber things too that you put behind your head. And there you go. So there's that. And then the K95 mask is this one. I like these, actually. I like these type of masks because it doesn't, this one actually just messes up my hair because it goes all the way down to the back. But this one doesn't because it goes to your ears, right? The problem with this one is it doesn't fit well. I can tell that it's loose on the side. I can feel my air whenever I breathe. I can feel it coming out. So as far as protection, I would wear this than this one, but I would probably wear this than this one. So just wanted to show you that. Now, face shields. What do y'all think about face shields? Are you wearing face shields whenever you go out? Because that's been recommended now. I see it all the time everywhere. So I will give you an example of a face shield that I use at work. So this is the one that I use at work. This is the one that they give out at work. So it has that foam thing here, which, rests on your head and it adjusts over here. So it has these little slots where you can adjust it. We can put it in and adjust it. Okay, so you're supposedly should have this and goggles and masks at work. The problem is when I was doing my swabbing this past Wednesday, the problem is there's no air circulation, and because the foam area blocks the air circulation from bottom up or up bottom, right? So it's really hot. And I was like, sweating bullets at work. So my friend actually is selling this, and this is awesome. And I wish I had gotten this before I went to work on Wednesday. And so this is from Jamina. Thank you, Jamina. Oh my gosh, look at this. So this is, guys, this is so cool. Look at that. It comes in this little glass frame, and you attach the plastic shield on the corners. So if you guys haven't seen this around, I mean, it's all over the internet, I think, I mean, you can see this on Facebook. People are selling this on Facebook. So here we go. Here's our little glass, and you just put it on like that. Well, anyway, you gotta put your mask first. I think it goes this way, right? So let's go ahead and put it on, here. There you go. It's really, really, really easy. So if you guys can see that, and I'm just snapping at the back, and you can tell that the air flows better because it's not blocking the air, right? So that is awesome. So let me see. This thing. All right, there you go. So now we're all set up, and we can put it there. All right, it's so much better. It's so much better, and there's air circulation that's going from top to bottom. And I wish I had this when I was doing my swabbing this past Wednesday. So those are some of the things that, of course, if you're going to be doing any testing or anything like that, you need to have a gown and your hair cap and your shoe covers. And of course, you have to maintain your infection control. You have to have gloves, change your gloves, wash hands, things like that. All right. Any questions on the PPE supplies? All right. So let me move on to how do you all feel about going outside, going to the grocery stores, going to church? Actually, you went to church this past Sunday. How do you feel about going to the mall, going to the beach, going to some type of vacation, right? Do you need to wear a mask or not? That is a very big question. So I will tell you that, being a nurse and being in the clinical field, I will highly, highly, highly recommend that you wear a mask. Whatever mask of some sort, you have to wear a mask. It's not only because you're protecting yourself from others, you're also protecting other people from you. In the news, they say that the asymptomatic people are the super spreaders. They spread it because they don't know that they're positive. They don't have any symptoms, but they're out there. So once they get with somebody with a close proximity that's less than 6 feet and more than 15 minutes, you're chatting with your neighbor, chatting with your friends, your family members, family gathering, and you don't know that you have the COVID-19, then you've just become a super spreader because you don't have any symptoms, you're asymptomatic. Now you're talking to somebody that's vulnerable, somebody that's diabetic, somebody that has medical conditions. They're going to get it, and they're going to have symptoms, and it's going to be tough when they develop, severe case of their medical diseases because of COVID-19. So I will highly, highly recommend that you wear a mask when you go out there. I'm going to tell you, we went to church this past Sunday, and I was very skeptical. I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to make sure that everybody's following the infection control. And sure enough, when we got there, all of my family were wearing a mask. And I would say half of the congregation are not. But the church did a very, very great job because as soon as you get in, they're going to take your temperature and they're going to spray some sanitizer on your hands. Everybody has to do it. And everything is spaced out in the main service area. And so everything is spaced out every other row, and each family sits within just their group. And then there's spaces before another group can sit in on the same row. So there's that. I felt I wasn't comfortable, but I think we're going to get there. So we are going to go back to church this coming Sunday. Going to the beach. We went to the beach. So if you guys have not seen my video on the beach on our mini vacation, go ahead and check out that video. It's there. Everything is there. The hotels right now are just doing 50% of their occupancy. And so the crowd is controlled pretty much. There's not a whole lot of housekeeping until, not unless you need to request housekeeping for your room, but everything they're following a good infection control. They're really, really good. So I would recommend going out on the beach. It's open to air, you're out there and it's fun. What about going to the mall? What about going to the grocery store? If you have the ability to order online, go ahead and do that. We've never done it, but that doesn't mean that we won't. But go ahead and do that. But we've been going out to the grocery store. We've been going out to the grocery stores, either me or my husband, and we just go in and out. We have our mask on, and sometimes we even wear gloves, and just making sure that you're spacing out and you are following social distancing. What about going to the mall? Oh my gosh, my kids are so bored. And this summer, it's just like, they're so bored. And we've gone to the mall a few times. And the beauty at the mall is that they have the line. They control the people that are coming into the store. So you got to wait in line. So if you haven't seen my Harry Potter Hot Topic mini haul, go ahead and click on that and you'll get to see how everything looks like in the mall. Everyone has to have a mask inside the mall, and they're not going to allow you to come into the store if you don't have a mask. So that makes me feel better. And they are controlling the crowd that's going inside the store, and they're only doing 50% of the customers going inside the store. So that is really cool. But a lot of the stores, sadly, have closed down. And so, I don't want to touch too much about economics and politics, on this live stream, but it does affect, people that work there, businesses that work there, and it's just sad. You go to the mall and it's really not as lively as it used to be, where it's fun. You can go in and out of the different stores. It's not like that anymore. So I can't wait. School here in the United States is opening up. So today, my kids actually completed their Zoom orientation with their teachers, and school is going to start on Monday. And they're going to start it off with online schooling for a full month. And then in September, they're going to start with a face-to-face schooling, regular schooling. So I don't know how that will look like. I don't know how they're going to space out the kids inside the classroom, right? So there's that. So where else? Where else do you think that you may need to go? I wouldn't recommend. I've seen a lot of people are going to the beach or doing fishing here in Texas, but mostly it's the beach. I think the theme parks are open now, so you guys can go, and they're doing the same protocol as everybody's doing. All right, so let's see. Do we have any questions? Testing, we talked about testing. It makes me so thirsty when I do live. All right, Brian, you're so funny, MKRP4. I always tongue twist with that one. Oh yeah, that's right. You are wearing 98% welding respirator. Very, very similar to the N95 masks, right? CDC does not require asymptomatic exposed people to self-isolate pending test results. Actually, they do recommend. So every time you are exposed to someone, a direct exposure. So basically, at least for the Department of Health that I speak with, that I talk to here in my county, if you have been exposed with someone that's positive or symptomatic or with a pending test, you are automatically sent home to self-isolate for 14 days. So not unless that has changed in the past week, but that's still the guideline that we've been doing to make sure that, we're not spreading that, because this is basically at work. So if we have a caregiver that has had a direct contact with somebody that's positive, we immediately send them home to self-isolate and monitor themselves if they're going to develop any symptoms at all, and then eventually get tested. All right. Anything else? That is so funny. Yes. We don't want anybody to get infected. So I don't know how school is going to look like, because it's crazy. And I just don't know. We've gotten reports of kids testing positive, and it's hard. Or kids catching the COVID-19 and they are asymptomatic, means they don't have any symptoms, right? But they bring it home. And so they bring it home and they infect, they become super spreaders now. they infect their parents, and then some families have extended families inside their home. They have their grandpa and their grandmas, and they will infect their grannies, right? So that's just one of the things that, you know, what are we going to do? So it has been a crazy, crazy year. I do want to talk about some myth busters. I found this online and I thought it's pretty cool to just kind of go over these things. It says, it was so funny. Oh, this is so cool. The breath test. They said trying to hold your breath for at least 10 seconds can determine whether you have coronavirus. So hold your breath for 10 seconds. And then if you didn't cough up or anything, then that means you don't have the COVID-19, right? That is so crazy. I will tell you, from being a nurse, you know, from being in a medical field, that is not true. It's not an indicator that you have coronavirus if you didn't cough when holding your breath for 10 seconds. You know, you need to be tested. You really need to be tested to get you identified and get you the exact results if you're positive or negative. That is pretty cool. Well, is that really cool? I don't know. I don't know what you call that. It's just kind of crazy. All right, the next one. Oh, this is so cool. Gargling salt water can help prevent coronavirus. I have heard that. You know, some people would say, hey, go ahead and gargle some warm water with salt in it, and then you won't get coronavirus. That is not true. It's not scientifically proven that gargling with water, salt water, will help you prevent getting the coronavirus. So, I mean, I guess it can help soothe your throat if you have a sore throat, but it does not prevent coronavirus. That is so crazy. All right. Anyone can get coronavirus testing. What do y'all think about this? Can anyone just go and get corona testing, COVID testing? The answer is no. Not everyone can get the testing. So you have to have symptoms, and you have to have symptoms, and you have to have consider like other. What am I thinking? You have to have symptoms, or you have been exposed to someone that's positive. Then they will go ahead and test you. Or you work in the medical field, they will go ahead and test you. But not everyone can go in. In the early days, like in March, you know, before you even get tested, you need to fill out a form. You need to go online, fill out a form, make sure you have considerable answers to get you eligible to get tested. So, yeah, no, I don't know how it is now. I think anybody can just go get tested now. I don't know, because I've never done a public testing. We've always done coordination of testing inside the facilities where I work. So that is pretty interesting. Oh, what about this one? You can get the coronavirus from mail and packages from China. I heard about that. I don't think you can get coronavirus by receiving mails or products from China. So first of all, I don't know about the, what do you call that? The lifespan of the coronavirus on surfaces, but I'm pretty much sure if you're receiving a package from China, it has been days and days and days with shipping and all that stuff before that product can get into your doorstep. So the answer is no, you're not going to get coronavirus if you receive mail packages from China. That is so funny. Okay, what about heat can kill the coronavirus? I don't think so. You know, I don't think heat can kill coronavirus. I mean, maybe in extreme heat. I don't know, here in Texas, I think it was yesterday, we were just at 106 or 105, maybe, but that doesn't mean a person that has a coronavirus will go out there, out in the sun to be just, you know, get a sunburn. so the sun can kill the coronavirus instead. You are going to exhaust that person, and that person is already symptomatic, has symptoms. You're just going to continue to exhaust that person. So don't do that. Don't do that. All right, next up on Mythbusters. Yeah, if you guys are logging in late, just letting you know that we are doing some Mythbusters. Face masks can protect you from the coronavirus. Okay, so we talked about face masks, right, a little while ago. So face masks can give you some protection, but it won't prevent transmission. It can, you know, it just depends. It really, really just depends. You know, it gives you a lesser chance. You're at a low risk of getting it if you are wearing some type of a face mask. Plus your face shield. If you're comfortable with a face shield by all means, go ahead and wear them. It'll do good. You know, I think that's the new fashion now, right? Face shield and face mask. That is crazy. All right, drinking water every 15 minutes prevents the coronavirus from entering your lungs. I have to laugh at that one. I don't think so. I don't think drinking water every 15 minutes will dilute the coronavirus in your body. I don't think so. I don't think it'll drown the COVID-19 because it goes through your respiratory tract. As soon as you inhale that, it just, you know, inside our body, there's a lot of capillary exchanges and everything like that goes inside. So once you inhale that, it's going to go inside your body. It's going to be absorbed systemically. Unfortunately, it lodges into your lungs. You know, coronavirus is not just respiratory. It just doesn't progress your respiratory status, right? It can go to your liver. It can go to your other organs. Hey, Michaela, thank you so much for logging in. And lovely Abby, thank you for logging in. All right, so there is that. Let's see what else. We're going over Mythbusters, friends, and there's just some funny Mythbusters on the internet. Kids cannot get the coronavirus. I think we already know that. Kids can get coronavirus. You know, even at work, we have like caregivers that their children goes to daycare, and the operators of the daycare will be positive, the children will be positive, and then the parents become positive too. So the kids can get the coronavirus. Let's see, what else do we have out here? Vinegar can kill the coronavirus. I don't think so. That has not been proven. It's not scientifically proven. So, I mean, but vinegar is good for your body in some way or manner, because a lot of people drink the apple cider, right? That's the vinegar from apple. Is that right? Okay. Pets can spread the coronavirus. I don't think there was, I don't think pets, I think humans can give it to pets, but I don't think there's evidence of pets transmitting the virus to humans. So I guess that's still, you know, up in the air. They're doing some testing on that. You cannot get coronavirus twice. Okay, this is controversial. And for those of you that are just logging in, I hope you guys are hearing me well. I was trying to do the earpiece a little while ago, but it just didn't work. Anyway, can you get the coronavirus twice? That I don't know. You know, literature says, CDC says, no, you can't. In the very beginning, they said you're not supposed to get reactivated or reinfected by corona, because once you're immune, right? But then throughout time, we actually have some people that are positive, they became negative, therefore recovered, right? And then becomes positive again. So what is that? What does that mean? You're positive, negative, and positive. So what does that mean? Did you get reinfected, or was the negative result just a false negative and you had it all along? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. Even when I talk to the Department of Health, the epidemiologists, they don't have the answers to that too, because it's such a new virus that we don't know, right? We don't know, you know, the continuity, I can't pronounce that, the continuity of the disease process. And some people have completely recovered. Some are just continuous positive for 30, 60 days. It's incredibly insane. But just wanted to let you guys know that that's what we're seeing out there, you know, as far as being positive or negative. All right. Some comments here. Loss of taste and smell is the first sign in very mild case. I would agree to that one because I've seen it and we've come across it. The loss of taste. And I work in a geriatric population and elderly population. So we have people that have dementia and they can't even say that they can't taste the food because they can process it cognitively, right? But loss of taste, and you will see that because they don't get up early anymore. You wake them up in the morning for breakfast and they're not getting up. It's because they don't have the appetite. They can't taste the food. They don't feel well. And they have body ache. So it is crazy. So yes, loss of taste is one of the symptoms. What advice do you give to parents diagnosed with the virus? Thank you so much. That is a very good question. What advice would I give to parents diagnosed with virus. I will tell you that CDC would recommend that the children or the parents remove themselves from one another because they need to be isolated. But in households that are single family household, what do you call that? Like a single parent household, and then the parent becomes positive and you don't have anybody else that will take care of your child. The CDC, the epidemiologists in your county, like at least for us in our county here, they've actually okayed that. You know, if you can't have anybody else that will take care of your child, then you just stay together, assuming that your child will become positive, and then you will just be treated together. So it's kind of a stickler because, you know, what do you do, right? It's kind of hard when it comes to you being positive. We actually have had that, and it is what it is. So we just need to watch the symptoms. And if your child becomes positive and has declined or has a change of condition, make sure you're sending your child to a higher level of care where they can be taken care of. Good question. All right. Shading, what is the MKRP4 is asking a question. They are shading the viral particles. The RNA virus causes acute condition. I'm not sure about that question. What do you mean the RNA virus causes acute condition? If you can put it in the chat, MKRP4, just kind of expand that a little bit. So remember that corona does not have a DNA, it has an RNA, so different component. Yeah, but you know, it's there. So it is crazy. So I don't know where we can go to. This is our new normal now, right? And the new normal is so uncomfortable. You know, it's just unlike before, and it's crazy. So we got to make sure that we're doing what we can at home. We're practicing our infection control. You don't have to wander around and I want to go to the bookstore and I just can't, you know. But I will admit, I went to the bookstore the other day actually, and I just went in and out. I went ahead and bought some books, Harry Potter books, because I read them online, but not from an actual book. So yeah, so there you go. I think that is all. If you guys don't have any other questions, we went through, Michaela, you missed some of the stuff. We went through different types of masks and gave an example of how the testing goes. If you guys don't have any further questions, we can conclude our live stream today. If you have further questions, just go ahead and put it on the comment section. YouTube actually posts the chat section. So I thought that was pretty cool because this is going to be our second time doing live streaming. Other than that, I am planning to do a weekly live stream, maybe like a Friday, here in the US. It'll be morning in other parts of the world, just to kind of wrap up the week. But, you know, let me know what kind of contents you want me to cover. I am comfortable with nursing because that's what I do. But I also want to cover some other topics like lifestyle, or maybe about marriage, family life, or how to survive your first 5 years of marriage. Or maybe I've been married for 19 years. It's coming up 20 years next year. So we've been through ups and downs. So let me know in the comment section if you have anything else that you want me to cover or any interesting topic. And don't forget to view my other videos. I do Harry Potter. If you are not familiar with Harry Potter, I am starting to cover. I'm thinking of videos to cover for Harry Potter, primarily like book review and movie reviews. You know, I just want to tell you guys out there that I love Harry Potter. You know why? Because it's about love. It's really not, it has nothing to do with the magic and witchcraft and things like that. It's really about love, and it's about, you know, loyalty and friendship, and it's just family. It makes you feel so warm. Never really understood the story until I'm quite an adult right now. So it's really, really cool. So I'd love to do a book review and movie review. Those are some of the items that I have in mind to produce as contents for my YouTube channel. So there is that. And then other than that, I do other lifestyle vlogs, which I haven't done in quite a few weeks. But I'm going to go ahead and go back into that one and just kind of separate separate my playlist. Last question we have here from Beatrice Cargo. Kathy, what are some of the support that you all provide for your staff that is diagnosed with the virus? Very good question. So the support, I know you missed out. Yeah, that's fine. You did groceries. We talked about groceries and going out to the grocery safely. So for our work, for the company that I work for, the support that we do for our staff is basically, there's really not a whole lot that we can do other than sending them home and isolating themselves and making sure that they've done that for 14 days. We will call them, we will check up on them to make sure they're doing okay. Like I personally have called the caregivers, the staff that are tested positive, to make sure that I've given them some guidance on what to do and kind of give them, uplift their spirits. Because I would tell you, once you test positive, I've never been positive, but I will tell you, once you become positive, you kind of go through the grieving process. Y'all remember the Kubler-Ross grieving process? You go through denial, you go through anger, and then you go through the acceptance eventually. But you get mad, you get angry, like why am I positive? Who gave this to me? I got it from work or I got it from home. Why did I go to my family's party and somebody there was positive? Why did I do that? Yada yada yada. You become angry. So and then after that you become isolated. You kind of feel depressed because you need to be isolated for 2 weeks. And for those that can do that, the isolation, it can get really, really lonely. And what are you going to do? If you have body aches and you have symptoms, you're isolated, you're just going to end up being in bed, which is not good for your symptoms, right? So basically, when I call the caregivers, when I call the staff, I give them some positivity. I'll let them know, hey, make sure that you are doing daily exercises, daily breathing, daily exercises, and read or listen to some motivational items, stuff, and that way it can get you motivated and not be like a super downer every day for 2 weeks. Also at work, we do offer some employee assistance. So if you don't have PTO, then we can bank up our resources and give you some PTO. And I think we've given out some monetary bonuses as well for caregivers that have become positive and they're isolated and they don't have PTO, or they need money for grocery, things like that. So those are some of the support that we have given. And again, this is from the company that I work for. I don't know about y'all's company or, if you own your business or whatever you guys do, but I think the best thing that you can do if you know someone that has become positive is to give them the moral support and giving them some mental health. I know personally one of our family members have tested positive, like in April, I think, or March or April. We've literally dropped off groceries in front of their door because I know that you can't go out if you're positive or you can't do some grocery shopping. So we've dropped off bags of groceries and, have checked in on them almost every day to make sure that they're doing fine. So great question. Let's see, do we have anything else? Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Michaela. Thank you for that question. That is great. No acceptance, fight to the end. That's great. I know, I love that quote, MKRP4. I do tell you that some of the people that we're taking care of at work, like I mentioned before, I work in a geriatric population, elderly population. So some of them have, their disease process has expedited up to where, they have passed on and they passed away. So it can really be debilitating and some bounce back. So it just really depends. You know what? This is one of the things that I forgot to mention, actually. Some of the symptoms from the people that I've talked to, either work or friends or someone that we know or caregivers or whatnot, some of the symptoms, some may have like true fever, coughing, body aches, but there's also some that said that it feels like an excruciating sinus that's just really up and down your nose and the pressure behind your eyes that you just want to gauge your eyes out. So that's how painful it can become. And you just have to endure it. Just take Tylenol to relieve your fever, but you just have to endure it until it completely goes away. And that body ache, that pressure can be consistent every day for like 3 or 4 or 5 days, versus when you have a flu or you have just like a slight fever or body aches or whatever, malaise, whatever you call that. Well, we call it malaise. general body, that can take usually, or any viral infection that you've had before, that one usually takes about 24 to 48 hours, right? But with COVID, it's like days, like up to 5 days of continuous, suffering. So, and those are some of the cases that I've heard. So anyway, if you guys don't have any other questions, like I said, check out the other videos in my channel. You can check out some non-nursing stuff, some entertaining stuff, something to watch when you're washing dishes or maybe just getting ready or getting dressed up in the morning. Just go ahead and watch it. And I do that when, whenever I watch some of my favorite YouTubers. But then if I also want to watch some heavy stuff, then I'll go ahead and go to the other YouTubers that I subscribed on. But check out the rest of my videos in my channel. Let me know what you think about it. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and then hit the like button, notification bell, so you can get notified the next time I have a video out. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your time. It's Friday night here. It is exactly 9:01. I appreciate all your time. Y'all take care, be safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye, friends. How's that? How's that? How's that?